What's up guys, it's Eileen. So something I've been really working on the past few months is learning to say no. It's so hard to say no because naturally I just want to be a nice person and I don't like confrontation, and I just want to say yes because it's easier to say yes, sure, I'll do it, instead of no, I can't. No to me just sounds mean. It sounds like I'm being a selfish person. But at the end of the day, I realize it's because I'm such a people pleaser that it's just hard for me to put myself first. And I've noticed this since I've been getting busier lately. More and more people just are reaching out to me, asking me questions. People want to take me out to coffee, to lunch, pick my brain. And more I realize that I have to really learn to say no, or else I'm just gonna be pulled into all directions and there will be nothing left for myself. It's really hard for me to feel mean and selfish, but you do have to realize when is the right time to say no. And it's okay to say no. You have to give yourself permission to say no. I was kind of inspired to talk about this topic after I watched an episode of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So in an episode of that show, Kimmy, the main character, is so nice and she's going above and beyond helping out her friend. And then she's driving an Uber, and Tina Fey comes into the car, a drunk Tina Fey, and she's just like, you need to stop putting other needs before your own. And after that, I was like, you're so right. I feel like Kimmy sometimes, where I can be a little bit too nice sometimes and I want to please everybody, and I really honestly do want to help as much as I can, but I only have 24 hours in a day. I only have so much energy, and if I agree to do something that I don't completely want to do, then it's not worth it because I'm not giving my full passion. I'm not giving my 100% to that. So more and more I'm learning to say no. I'm learning that it's okay to say no, and you can also say no in a nice way where other people will understand. So for example, I've been practicing saying no a little bit more lately. The easiest way to say no is when brands email me to work with me. It's really easy for me to just say no to those because there are so many requests, and honestly, I really make sure that I'll only say yes if I really want to receive that product or whatever. I say no to a lot of things because I don't want a lot of junk sent to me. But on the other end, what is hard for me to say no to are to requests from my friends and family, because naturally I want to say yes and I want to help in any way that I can. For example, recently a cousin of mine got married, and I have a lot of cousins. I have 20 something cousins, and in the past 3 years, this is the fourth wedding in the past 3 years. So I've sang at every single one of my cousins' wedding, the first, second, and third, until this time. And the first and second time, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll sing. That was in 2013, 2014, when I was doing music actively and I was really happy to perform. And then the third one came, and obviously I really love my cousin, so I'm like, okay, sure, I'll sing at your wedding. That was the time where I wasn't really excited about performing and singing anymore. I kind of had gotten over it because I performed so much in those past 2 years. And not to say that I didn't want to sing at that wedding. I did want to sing. I was happy to sing. I love my cousin, and he chose a Celine Dion song, which I was really excited to sing because I got to be a diva. But that was just the wedding where I had these feelings where maybe I don't want to keep doing this anymore. So when you sing at a wedding, it's not just casual. You have to practice and treat it like a real performance. So it takes a lot of time and effort on your part. And I remember when I was at the day of the wedding, I had to sound check with sing in the venue before the actual performance. And during the sound check, they took the family picture. They took the whole group family picture, and I didn't know that was going on. And I think my boyfriend did come to get me to take the photo, but I was like, no, I'm in the middle of sound check, and I treat it like a real performance. So I missed my family picture, and they turned that photo into a magnet that everyone puts on their fridge. So I was kind of sad to have missed that because I was a performer at the wedding. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but you get what I'm saying. I'm honored to be asked to sing at my cousin's wedding, but at the same time, I've not gone to a wedding just for fun. I've always had like a job to do as a performer in those past 3 years. So when this cousin, another cousin, came around and was gonna plan his wedding, this is the 4th wedding that happened last weekend, I knew I didn't want to sing at it. And I felt bad because I was like, I didn't want to seem like I was playing favorites, like I'll sing for these 3 cousins but not you. But I was just at a point where I'm over it. I'm not really performing actively anymore, and I mean, I'm just not feeling it. If I'm not feeling it, I should be able to say no. So I kind of dreaded that conversation because I wasn't sure if this cousin was gonna ask me. And you know, during my grandma's 90th birthday a couple months ago, he asked me, he's like, so AILEEN, do you wanna continue the family tradition and sing at my wedding? And it was so hard for me to say anything. I was like, let me think about it. I don't know why I can't just straight up say, no, I'm sorry, I don't feel like I want to do that anymore. But I'm just like, so nice. I'm avoiding confrontation, this one. So I kind of gave a really wishy-washy answer, but in the end, we confirmed and I said, no, I think I'd rather just enjoy a wedding for the first time as just a wedding guest, because I have never done that before. So the wedding happened last week and it was so much fun just to go relax and just like enjoy as a normal person, and I was happy that I didn't have to sing. I've learned that if your body is telling you no, you know that you have to say no, because sometimes we want to be nice and say yes, but deep down, like, we already have that feeling like, no, it's not, I don't want to do it. Or maybe you're unsure, maybe you're like 50-50, oh, I can do it, but I kind of don't want to. When you're unsure, it's like, just say no. Learn to say no and own your no. Marie Forleo is always talking about getting on the no train, and I'm so about that. And I remember her saying a quote, something like, if it's not a resounding yes from my entire body, the answer is no. So this is just something that I want to move forward and make my life decisions based on that feeling. You know when you're 100% excited and passionate and you're like, oh my God, yes, I want to do it. You know when you have that feeling. So only say yes when you feel that 100, 1000% yes. And for everything else, when you're like, I don't know, say no. Learn to say no. I know it's so hard, but honestly, give yourself permission to say no. So in Oprah's book, What I Know for Sure, she also has like a chapter on how she started to learn to say no at the age of 40. So Oprah's a really giving person, and she talks about how everybody's asking her to donate to their charities. And she always felt like she was kind of obligated to write a check and donate to their charity because she didn't want to look like she was being selfish or greedy or mean, even when deep down she didn't really want to 100%. So she said, never again will I do anything for anyone that I do not feel directly from my heart. I will not attend a meeting, make a phone call, write a letter, sponsor, or participate in any activity in which every fiber of my being does not resound yes. I will act with the intent to be true to myself. When I accepted that I was a decent, kind, and giving person, whether I said yes or no, I no longer had anything to prove. So I think a lot of that people-pleasing personality comes from the need to prove that you are a good person, to prove that you are nice and kind and giving. But you have to realize that you are still that person, and you can still be that nice, kind, giving person while saying no. Because you can't say yes to everything. Like literally, if you say yes to every request, you will have no more time to do anything for yourself. You have to put yourself first. Stop putting other needs before your own. Another way that I'm learning to say no, which I feel like is a transition point, is to find a compromise. So for example, when someone asks me like, hey AILEEN, I want to pick your brain, can I take you out to coffee or lunch? And I kind of don't want to give them that full like 1 to 2 hours sitting there at lunch talking, I feel like I can make a compromise. So in my head, this was a real situation. In my head, when I got that request, I instantly like froze up inside, kind of like that dreaded feeling like, oh my God, I don't feel good about it. I kind of don't want to do it, but I don't want to directly say no because that seems really mean and harsh. So I thought about it and I sat with myself and I was like, you know what? What I'm okay with doing is just having a quick phone call with this person. Like a 30-minute call is much less of a commitment than actually meeting for lunch and having the whole shebang. So that is something like a transition point in learning to say no. So if someone asks you to do something and you don't entirely want to say yes, but you don't entirely want to say no, see if you could find some kind of compromise to still be able to help that person out, but not to like dedicate too much like time and energy to that request. I don't know, I'm still figuring it out, but I do know that I have to listen to my intuition and my body when it's telling me, no, I don't want to do this. And I will only say yes when I feel that yes 1,000 times percent, 1,000 what? I will only say yes when I really want to say yes. No hard feelings, no offense, don't mean to hurt anyone, I just need to look out for myself. That's it. Alright, I hope you guys like this video. If you could relate or if you have any tips of your own, feel free to comment below. Also, if you haven't heard, I'm hosting my first live Google Hangout webinar next Wednesday, June 15th at 6 p.m. PST. So if you guys are around during that time and you want to hang out live with me, ask me your questions, then click the link below. There's an RSVP link in the description. All right, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and I will see you next time. Bye.